This month we're going to work on a solo arrangement of I Will by the Beatles. This song was chosen by my patrons over at patreon.com, where each month we do a different tutorial based on the suggestions of the patrons. So if you haven't already, please check it out in the description below. That's also where you can find a download to this tab if you sign up. But let's go ahead and dive into I Will, which I have to say, this is one of my favorite tutorials I've done because I love this song. I didn't actually really know this song too well before somebody suggested it, and it's been a lot of fun. But let's go ahead and start at the top. So with this, we're going to start with a pickup bar and play the words who knows. We're going to start with the open E string, and then one on the E with our index finger. Now going into the first measure here, you'll notice we're going to play an F chord. So we leave our index finger here, and we just add the middle finger to the second fret of the G string. And then we're going to do a down strum with our index finger. You'll notice there's a little down strum marker, which is what this looks like. And there's no lyric associated with it. So you want to play it a little bit softer, but use the nail of the finger to create a different sound. So the very beginning has who knows, and then a quick strum on the F chord. We'll then play 3 on the A for the word how. We can just take our ring finger, place it there. Then the open A for long. Then we switch to a D minor chord. And to play the D minor, we can just continue holding this F chord and add our ring finger here on the second fret of the C string. We'll do the same little down strum there, where it should be softer and with the nail to create a different sound because there are no words associated with it. Then we're going to play the 1 on the E string for I've, and then the 3 on the E string for the word loved. And I like to just take my pinky and put it here on the 3rd fret of the E string, just like that. So I'm still with that D minor chord. Then I'm going to play the 1 on the A. And when I do this, I'm going to take away the other fingers, because then I'm going to strum down, up, down on a C7 chord, which is just this index finger here on the 1st fret of the A string. And that sort of wraps up the very first little line in the song. So what this sounds like going through this first part is something like this. Who knows how long I've loved you. And you'll notice when I do those strums, it's softer. And the reason for that is that it's harmony. When we're playing the melody, we'll have a lyric associated with it, and we want to bring those notes forward. And whenever there aren't lyrics associated, it's meant to be harmony, more of the chords in the background. So now as we look at the next section here, we're going to play You Know I Love You Still. And this is going to start with the end of the previous bar, playing 0 on the E, and then 1 on the E, and building that F chord again, followed by that down strum. Then we'll play 3 on the A, open on the A, just like we did before, followed by a down strum on the D minor. Then we'll play the 1 on the E, and then we're going to play a 3 on the A, and I like to use my pinky finger there. So those words here are, you know, I love you still. Now, the reason why it's really important to use the pinky here on the 3 of the A is going into the next set of measures here. I'm going to strum through an A minor, and all that I need to do is take off my ring finger and take off my index finger from my D minor chord, with my pinky still here on the 3 of the A from the previous melody note. I've got my middle finger here on 2 of the G,
pinky finger here on 3 of the A. And we're going to do a down strum on that. Again, no words, so nice and soft. And then we're going to place our ring finger here on the 3rd fret of the C string and our index finger here on the 1st fret of the E string. And we're going to strum through with our thumb for the word will, and that's a F7 chord. So we have the A minor, strum soft, then strumming through with the thumb for the word will. Slide the pinky all the way up to 8 on the A for the word I. Then we're going to play the B flat chord, and this B flat's a little bit different than how we might normally play it because we're going to be up the fretboard. Go ahead and take the index finger and bar it across the 5th fret of the C, E, and A strings, and then take your middle finger and place it on the 6th fret of the E string. So it's a lot like a G chord just moved all the way up. We're not going to play the G string, but we're just going to play the C, E, and the A, which is all we need to create that B flat. And we're going to strum through those with our thumb. And that's the word wait. So going from the will I, we have will I wait. And then a lonely is going to be a 6 on the E, which is already there. And then lone, what we're going to do is we're going to take off the index finger, slide this middle finger down to 3 on the E, and strum the G, C, and E strings, stopping before we get the A. And that's going to be lone. And then Lee, we're going to play the 3 on the A here with the ring finger just stacking it underneath. So we have wait, lonely. Pretty cool, right? Now, when we go to the next section here, the D minor, we're going to move to a D minor chord just as we played before. And then the 1 on the E. Then a down strum on an F chord. Then we'll play the 3 on the A, reach the pinky out to 8 on the A. We're going to repeat that little B flat to C that we did before. So we're going to bar across there on the 5th fret of the C, E, and the A, add the middle finger here on 6 of the E, play the 6 on the E, slide down, and then to end this, it's going to go I will. At the end of this measure, it's actually going to start the beginning of the repeat. And we'll talk about that repeat in just a moment. But those 2 measures now going through should sound like lifetime. If you want me to, I will. And just so that you can hear that whole section so far before we get to the first repeat ending, it should sound something like this, starting at the beginning. Who knows how long I've loved you? You know I love you still. Will I wait a lonely lifetime? If you want me to, I will. So that's the first little part of the song, and you can see that there's some repetition in it with that B flat moving and whatnot. So now going into the next bar here, measure 8, this is the first ending. So this is what we're going to play the first time through this melody. And it's pretty straightforward. We're going to still be holding that note, the 1 on the E for I will from the previous bar. Then we're going to down strum on the F chord. Then we're going to make the D minor chord and do 2 down strums on that. And then we're going to go to this chord here, which is a type of G minor. It's a G minor 7, but we're going to place the 2nd fret here on the C string with our middle finger, index bar across the 1 on the E and the A strings. We're going to strum that one twice. And then we're going to go to a C7, just the index finger here on the 1st fret of the A string with a single down strum. Then it'll play open on the E and 1 on the E to do the repeat to go back to measure 1. So when that goes there, we go back to the beginning at measure 1 and play through the section a second time. Now what we do here is when we get to I will, instead of going to the first ending again, we go on to the second ending. Second ending right here at measure 10 is really straightforward. It's just going to be an F chord strummed through once, and then an F7 strummed twice. And to play the F7, we just add our ring finger here on the 3rd fret of the C string, and our pinky finger here on the 3rd fret of the A string. We're going to give that 2 down strums. So that second ending is, we play that I will at the end of that, and followed by down, down, down. Now we're into the second section of the song, or the B section, which is quite a lot of fun to play. It's very different than the first section too. We're going to start with the dreaded B flat chord, but the way we're going to play it is just the middle finger here on the 2nd fret of the C string, and the index finger barred over the E and A on the 1st fret. We're going to strum the C, E, and A together, and that's the word love. Then we're going to take the index off for you, and then back on for for. So we have love you for, and then to play ever, we're going to play an A minor chord, middle finger here on the 2nd fret of the G string, but then we're going to stretch our ring finger or our pinky, either finger works here, to the 3rd fret of the A string, and strum through all 4. Ev, and then 3 on the A one more time for Going into the next bar here, we're going to play a D minor, so the middle finger can stay on the 2nd fret of the G string, add our ring finger on the 2nd fret of the C string, index finger on the 1st fret of the E. We're going to strum through with our thumb, and 2 on the C, 4, 1 on the E, ev, and then open on the A, You'll notice that's all built into the chord, which is kind of neat. So, and forever. And then we play a G minor chord, which we're going to play the 2nd fret on the C string with the middle finger, the ring finger on the 3rd fret of the E string, and the index on the 1st fret of the A. We're going to strum through our C, E, and A strings together. Love, then open A, you, then back on 1 on the A, with, and then we're going to play a C chord here, all, and the 3 on the A again, my. So those are the first 3 bars of the B section. You'll notice that there's no real strumming with the index finger, so the texture sort of changes here. But let's go ahead and play those first 3 bars of the B section. They should sound something like this. Love you forever and forever. Love you with all my. And now we go into the next part here, which is going to be the word heart on an F chord. And then the strumming comes back for a moment. We're going to play down strum on that F chord. And then we're going to play this sort of F7 where we just take the ring finger and place it on the 3rd fret of the C string and do 2 down strums there. Then going into the next bar, we go back to that B flat, that partial B flat we were playing, middle finger here on 2 of the C, index barred across 1 on the E and the A. Strum those 3. Yeah, love you when, and then ever. So this measure is exactly the same as love you forever at the beginning of B. It's instead love you whenever. Then it goes we're together. So you'll notice that those 2 bars are exactly the same as what we played earlier. Those 3 bars together should sound something like this. Heart. Love you whenever we're together. From here we go to a G chord, which you'll notice this measure kind of brightens the sound, makes it very interesting. It's using what's called secondary function if you're a big music theory buff, and this G chord is harmonizing the next chord, which is the C. And so we're going to play this G chord, and we can play it as we normally play a G chord. Index finger here on the 2nd fret of the C string, ring finger here on the 3rd fret of the E, and our middle finger is not going to go on the A string yet. We're going to leave that finger off. First we're going to play our G, C, and E together, then our open A, then add the 2 on the A. And you'll hear that that's what raises that sound, followed by a strum through that G chord, and then 2 on the A again, and then we're going to play a C chord. And that is going to be love you when we're apart. To finish this little line, we're going to play a C7 with the down strum, and then we're going to play the open E and 1 on the E, which is picking back up into the melody, the same sort of melody that's in the A section, only this time it's going to melody C. Some small variations, but it's essentially the same theme. So those 3 bars sound something like this. Love you when we're apart, and when. Now once we get to this and when, we're going right back into the parts that we were playing before. The same sort of thing as melody A with some small variations. So we're going to play and when, and followed by that F chord, and then at last, I find you, down, up, down. You'll notice that that's all the same as what we played earlier. Your song will fill the air. You'll notice that this is all very much the same as well. Now we go on to 22 here, and you'll notice that we're going to do a down strum on the A minor, just like we did before. Then we're going to play through the F7, sing it, same part, loud so I can hear you. So you'll notice this is all the same, but what's going to happen is it's going to kind of repeat this motif instead of ending it more quickly. So after we play it loud so I can hear you, we're then going to down strum an F chord, open like that, nice and quiet because it's not melody, and then we're going to essentially repeat the 3 and 8, go make it. And when we do that make it, leading into the next part, it's going to be easy to be near you. You'll notice that's all exactly the same as what we've done in earlier parts, only now, after we play the word you, we're going to play a really spicy chord. It's going to be barred all the way across the first fret of the C, E, and the A strings. And we're going to strum just the C and A together. That's a B flat minor chord. We're not going to play the G string. And we don't have a strum marker with it, so we want to use our thumb, but we want to make it nice and soft because there's no actual melody note with it. You'll notice it adds a lot of tension to the song at this moment and sort of is preparing it for the ending. So playing into that, we have easy to be near you. And then we're going to play an F chord with 3 on the A. So we're going to play 2, 0, 1 with our middle finger on the G string, index on the E. We can add our pinky or our ring finger to 3 on the A. Both work. Strum through all of them. Go up to 8 on the A with the pinky. And then things you do N. You'll notice that that line right there of things you do N is the same as what we've been playing many times throughout the song. But as we go to the last group of measures here, you'll notice instead of it going down, normally goes down this way, it's instead going to go up, and we're going to be playing Dear You. We're going to go all the way up. So middle finger here on the 9th fret of the C string, ring finger here on the 10th fret of the E string, and the index finger is going to go here on the 8th fret of the A string. So we have 9, 10, and 8. We're going to play just the C, E, and the A strings, and then the 10 on the E, and that's Dear You. Now, at this point in the song, I really like to slow it down for 2 reasons. One is it's the end of the song, and I think it sounds good to add some of that rubato or playing with feeling, slowing it down. But the other reason is because it's hard to go all the way up here, and then if you look, after it plays Dear You, it needs to go all the way back down to an F chord. That's a tough transition. So having a little bit of a slowdown there can help facilitate it. Dear You to, and then we go back up to 8 on the A for me. And then one more time with this little B flat to C thing. I. And then we're going to do a really spicy chord. Bar all the way across the first fret of the G, C, and E strings. We're going to play the G, C, and E together. Will. That's a D flat chord. And we'll add the ring finger here on the 3rd fret of the A. And then to finish it, we just take this bar and we slide it up. Play the 5 on the C. And then, with a full chord, 5, 5, 5, 8. Adding the pinky finger here to the 8th fret of the A string with the index finger still barred. And that finishes it with I will. So that last measure, which is a bit of a doozy, looks something like this. Dear you to me, you know I will. You'll notice that that 3 on the A has no lyric with it, so it's meant to be more of a little filler. Play it nice and soft as you move in. And there is I Will, which again, I really had a great time doing this arrangement because it just came together so nicely and it sounds so good. Sometimes you work on songs as a solo instrumental that sound okay, sometimes you work on them that don't sound great, and sometimes songs just work, and I feel like this is one of those, and so it kind of came together itself as I was working on it, and I really love the sound. So if you're interested in more tutorials like this, including many more different Beatles songs, be sure and check out that Patreon page, as well as all the different links in the description below, where you can find many more of these tutorials in the same sort of style. And I can't wait to see what you guys think up for next month. It's crazy that it's already July here in the summer of 2019, and I can't wait to see what people think up for August, and should be a lot of fun. So as always, if you have any questions on this arrangement, feel free to leave them in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys next month for another episode of the song tutorial series. Thanks so much.